Hello, my friends. Welcome to another video on YouTube or an episode on the Vibrant Living podcast. Today, our subject is Stop the Drip, discovering hidden energy leaks in your life. I have my cup of tea and it is yummy. What are you drinking today as we talk? Grab a piece of paper. There will be opportunity to take notes and to take some action steps. In our last video, we talked about exhaustion. We talked about energized living, and many of us need more energy in our lives. But did you know that it's often those small, like little unnoticed almost things that are slow drips that drain our energy the most? Today, we are going to uncover those sneaky energy leaks and talk about simple ways to stop them so that you can reclaim your vitality. This topic is really close to my heart because I have experienced all of these things. And once you begin to notice them, you will be amazed how much more energized and free and let go of procrastination and actually get more done. And it does include rest as well. So, energy leaks, what are they? Imagine your energy is like water in a bucket. And if that bucket has tiny holes in it, the water slowly drips out. You might not notice it at first, but over time, it can empty our bucket completely. And some of us are working from an empty bucket. I have. That's exactly what happens to us when our energy with small unnoticed things begin to drain it. If you have ever had a water leak in your house, as a property manager, when someone says that there's something leaking, we get there promptly because of the amount of damage one small drip can cause. And it is the same way in our life. When we have these small things in our life that drain our energy, it can make a huge difference. So let's talk about some of the things that cause these drips. And the first is overcommitment. I know. I felt like I didn't have a choice. So when I say this, I can almost hear my younger self going, I don't have a choice. I have all this stuff to do. How can I not be overcommitted? But you can. Because as you begin to realize when you say yes to something, you are in turn, the flip side of that coin is you are saying no to something else. And saying yes to things out of guilt or obligation, saying I have to or I should, is changing the energy level. I have to, I'm already aggravated. I have to do something. It changes when I choose to. Even when your schedule is full, changing the focus even on how you're looking at it. Who would think those little words are energy drips? I have to. I should. Oh, I don't have any choice. All of those little words are energy drips that get into overcommitment. But sometimes we say yes when we shouldn't as well. So look at your life. As you listen to this, reflect on your life. Is there any place you're saying yes that you really don't want to? And you do have a choice on how you either do it or approach it in a different way. Which brings us to number two is unresolved emotions. Now, holding down resentment. I have to and I should and I don't have any choice creates a lot of resentment and frustration. Someone else isn't living up to their obligation. I can be frustrated with that and worry about how things are going to turn out and how things might work when we don't recognize these negative emotions. let's word it another way. Instead of negative emotions, these draining emotions that drain our energy, if we live in a constant state of frustration, I don't have a choice, unforgiveness, all of those things, worrying about tomorrow. And if you missed it, listen to the first video where I talk about Jesus saying, "Come to me when you're worried and you're burdened, and I will give you rest." Take a breath. Number 3 is cluttered spaces. Whether it's a messy desk, an overwhelming to-do list, any kind of clutter that persists can cause low-level stress in our lives. It's one of the first steps that I give, the first action steps I give people in my Turn Your Baggage into Luggage so you can have the life you dreamed program is clearing clutter in one small space. Because clearing clutter in one small space, whatever that is, frees up your mind. There is a direct correlation between clutter in our life and clutter in our mind and our emotions. You do one, the other ones begin to get free as well. And number 4, technology overload. Yes, this is a real thing in our life. It didn't used to be in my younger self, but it is a real thing. Constant notifications, social media scrolling, feeling like you might be missing something, emails, getting behind a huge number in your email box. All of that can cause stress and can be an energy drain as well. I think for me, the biggest leak in my life of those lists was saying I should and I have to and overcommitting. And I didn't want to disappoint anybody. And then remember, I talked about in the last video that I need to be productive. I need to prove my worth. I need to be perfect. And I would end up saying no to taking care of Donna, and I would be exhausted and stretched too thin. I remember one week where I had back-to-back obligations, meetings, errands, stuff with kids, and all these kind of events that I didn't really want to go to. And by the end of it, I felt completely drained. And, that's not sustainable. We can do it for a while, and then your body will go, "We're done. You're going to rest." Can you relate? What is one area of your life where you feel like that energy is just dripping out of you, that you can't seem to get it back? Notice it and write it down because there's always hope. The first step in plugging these energy leaks is awareness, is even awareing that how many times do you say I have to every week? You can't fix what we don't see if you can't find the leak. So let's look at some awareness tools so that we can recognize these drips. Here's some questions to ask yourself. What activities or people leave me feeling drained? Like a weekly commitment that you dread every time it comes up. Ugh. What activities or people leave you feeling drained? Number 2, what task or spaces do I avoid because they feel overwhelming? Is there a junk drawer, a part of your house that just feels overwhelming and you just avoid it? You zone out maybe on the TV or on your phone so you don't have to look at it. Number 2, what area is that? Number 3, where do I feel resentment and frustration? Where do you feel resentment and frustration? Notice it because you do have a choice what you're going to do with that. And remember, forgiveness is an energy drainer. If we do not forgive, I need to say that right. When we do not forgive, that is a big energy drainer. Take a moment, Pause the video or the podcast and reflect on these questions. Jot them down. Give them in your quiet time. Sometimes the answers aren't obvious at first. But these questions are worth exploring because the first step is awareness. I used to feel a subtle tension every time I looked at my email box. It wasn't the big task, it was just all the unread, unimportant messages sitting there silently demanding my attention. Because remember, I was a perfectionist. Everything had to be perfect and in line and in order and all those things. And once I began to set boundaries, like checking my emails at specific times and unsubscribing from unnecessary lists, and deleting the ones that I don't really want, it was like a release and just doing it on a regular schedule. Cleaning the clutter, whatever it is in your life that brings order to your mind and refreshes you. So now that you've begun to notice where your energy might be leaking, I have an action step for you. This is a simple exercise. I call it energy leak audit. Grab a piece of paper and create two columns, or use two pieces of paper, whatever works for you. In the first column, list a few areas where you feel drained. Don't overthink it, just write whatever comes to mind. And then in the second column, write down a small action you could take to address these leaks. A shift in attitude, a scheduling an action step to actually do something about it, like I did with my emails, and write down what small things you could take. Like if there's constant notifications draining you, turning off the alerts on non-essential apps. Schedule a time to look at specific ones instead of letting it just go off all day long. Another one is cluttered space feels overwhelming. Set a 10-minute timer. Just organize it for 10 minutes. Break it down. And another one, if an obligation feels draining, practice saying no. No is a full sentence. Delegating it, perhaps, is another thing if something comes up. Remember, this isn't about fixing everything all at once. Just stopping one or two drips can make a noticeable difference in how you feel. Now, I want to emphasize something important. Don't overhaul your whole life to feel a great shift. It's just those small, consistent changes that add up over time. Think about a leaky faucet. Even with one slow drip, it can waste gallons and gallons of water over time. But when you tighten the faucet, the flow stops. And it is the same with our energy. Plugging just one or two leaks can restore more vitality than you realize. Having energy leaks is not a sign of failure. They're a natural part of life because there are a lot of things coming at us. And the key to recognize them is taking small intentional steps to address them. Each step you take is a step toward honoring your energy, your priorities, and your peace, and the life that God has for you, which is good. I have a couple of resources for you to go deeper. I've created a resource called The Guide to Understanding and Overcoming Low Energy and Motivation. The Guide to Understanding and Overcoming Low Energy and Motivation. It's packed with tools to help you identify and address the hidden drains in your life. So you can click the link wherever you find me talking and download your free guide. I have a women's summit coming up on February the 15th, Audacious Abundance. If you are listening to this prior to February the 15th, 2025, then there is tickets available for this women's summit, and it is called Audacious Abundance, Learning to Live in Full Abundance in Every Part of Your Life, which includes your energy and others. So join me there. And every second Monday of the month, I have a workshop as well. Heavenly Father, thank you for wisdom. Thank you for helping us see where our energy might be slipping away. Help us to have clarity as we look at our lives and courage to take steps you are calling us to take to have life in abundance. Give us the strength to let go of the things that drain us and embrace the things that restore us and revive us. May we walk in alignment with you in all areas of our life, feeling renewed and refreshed every day. And I ask this all in Jesus' name. You don't have to let those small drips drain you anymore. Take a step today. Stop the drips and walk lighter and more energized and see how you feel. I'm cheering you on every step of the way. Thank you for joining me here today. Remember to subscribe, to share, to leave reviews, and to share this with someone else because who doesn't feel drained now and then? Let's share this vibrancy and expand this everywhere we go. Until I see you back here again, have an amazing day. Bye for now.